to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Never a doubt, folks, never a doubt. Welcome into the Pod at the Palace postgame show following just a marathon. Arkansas beats Texas 86-81 in overtime. Maybe I should say Arkansas beats Trey Johnson 86-81 in overtime. Never easy, but we've come to expect that around here. Huge win for the Razorbacks. You want to talk about gutting it out. Before we get into this, let's just do this right away. Massive credit given to Arkansas, those 7 players, and John Calipari. Ridiculous. That is not an easy thing to do in this league with your 2 leading scorers out, and you've only got 7 players, and you've got to grind out an overtime win against a freaking lottery pick who's unconscious. Excellent job by Arkansas. Whether they blew that lead in the second half or not, to overcome that and show some resiliency, really impressive stuff. Andrew, how are you doing on this Wednesday night? If it's still Wednesday. Yeah, I guess it is. Okay.
It is still Wednesday for a few minutes here, but I'm feeling great, man. The coach, you know how when the coach will go into the locker room after the game and he'll say, "Boys, that was a good team win." And then a lot of times it's just a cliche, just a thing they say. That really was a team win, man. The 7 guys that played for Arkansas, they needed all of them. All of them, I felt like, really did contribute to this win, of course, by just playing. But I feel like if you take away any of their performances, I don't know if Arkansas is able to get the job done. They needed all of them, and we knew it was going to be that way whenever you didn't have a Adu Thero, who, again, you're on top of already losing Boogie Flan for the year, potentially. You just knew it was a gut check time for this Arkansas Razorback team, and like we said earlier this morning, not really much time to feel sorry for yourselves because you've got such an important game with such huge stakes, with 2 teams that are on the bubble, a team that you're likely going to get compared against when it becomes tournament time for that committee to make their decision. And what a way for Arkansas to get something in their back pocket. Looked like it was shaping up to be a gut-wrenching, just an absolute knife dagger. Horrible loss. Arkansas, where they outscored 26-12 down the stretch or something like that.
It was 17-4 the last 6 minutes when Texas finally took the lead there. Crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you go in overtime, you kind of favor the home team. I don't think any of us felt that way going into it, where Arkansas won. They're the team that was facing against the tidal wave that was coming. Texas had to go on such a big run to cut the lead. But again, these 7 players, and we've seen this Razorback team with this shortened rotation run out of gas a few times. You wondered how they were going to fare in this situation without their spark plug, without their guy that sets the tone for that energy. But man, like I said, all 7 guys really needed their efforts in this one. They were game for the challenge, man. You could tell that Texas had some desperation to them. They needed this win just as bad as Arkansas needed it. And Arkansas did enough to hold off Trey Johnson's unreal performance. That dude, I do not want to see that guy anytime soon, ever again.
No, please, God, no. Holy cow, man. He went nuts. This game, in a lot of ways, it kind of mirrored the game in Austin, where Arkansas was just, clearly the better team in the first half and really the opening portions of the second half. The whistles turned. And they say what you want about it. Like, Trey Johnson is a superstar and he was getting superstar calls. Like, I'm not even mad about that. What I'm more mad about is that Arkansas wasn't even in the bonus, like shooting 1-and-1s until overtime. That's kind of insane to me, but whatever. But like, that happened. And so that kind of flips it a little bit. Arkansas goes a little bit cold. Texas starts to figure some things out. They do a really good job of playing terrible basketball for like 30 minutes. And then they go nuts. They look like a Final Four team and they mount these crazy comebacks. They got over the hump and took the lead this time, but Arkansas was able to ward it off. It would have been nice if DJ would have just knocked down both of those free throws at the end of regulation, and maybe you could have been done with it. But at the same time, 0.2 of a second earlier, and Kaluma gets that putback, and Arkansas gets beat at the buzzer. So you go to overtime. Was really impressed because right away it looks like Trey Johnson's just getting ready to take this thing over, and I think he scored the first 5 or whatever. But shout out to Arkansas, man. They're dumping it in there to Big Z. He's scoring in there. Arkansas goes 4 of 4 from the field in overtime, 9 of 11 at the free throw line, and they don't turn it over a single time. And they're out there gasping for air. They're like a bunch of 40-year-old men out there holding their backs and trying to defend, this dude who's he looks like Kevin Durant in a Texas jersey all of a sudden. And they get over the top there. Just, all those cliche words, right? Like gritty, gutsy, resiliency, all those things, big time stuff. And it's just a super bubble matchup And we talked about how important this game was, and Arkansas freaking gets it done. Now you've got the season sweep over Texas. You are ahead of them in the pecking order. Huge. And we can talk about, I'm sure we'll get into it, like how much gas is this team going to wind up having in the tank? What was this? When's Thero coming back? Is he coming back? How are they going to get through these next 3 games? You feel a hell of a lot better about answering those questions after they got the win tonight. That's why this one was so, so important for Arkansas.
Yeah, because all of these things we're saying are true, and they still would have been true had Arkansas lost. You would have just had more work to do. It would have just been really hard to overcome how deflating that loss would have been. And like you said, Arkansas's played Texas in Austin. They've played them in Fayetteville. It's been, 85 minutes of combined action, and Arkansas's led for like 82 of those minutes. So it really would have been tough to drop this one and now have that kind of in the balance a little bit. Perfect little statement to send to the committee right there. And again, speaking of the NCAA tournament committee, like, of course, Arkansas will play better teams down the stretch. They'll play better teams in the NCAA tournament. But like that being in that type of game where you really have to dig deep, we'll see how long this team has to play without a Dude Thero. It does seem like for the foreseeable future, but they can definitely build on this experience. Like, these are the type of games that kind of make you a March team. They prepare you for that stage. And in the biggest moments of this team's season, they've found a way to get it done more often than not. And they've also come up short against better teams. But I feel like all these experiences are kind of prepping this team for this journey that they're on, and this story that we're seeing play out with Cal and this Razorback basketball team. How far will it go? I don't know, but it really is just cool to see the effort. And, we have all these, anytime Arkansas loses, we always do the thing where we're like, oh, they just don't care. And it doesn't really matter to these guys. And a Dude Thero, he's going to get hurt and he's going to go to LA and he's never coming back and all that. I think when you watch this Razorback team play, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out these dudes give a damn. They care about being raised. They care about winning. And they left it all out there tonight, man. Like I said, I really think you just go on down the roster. Arkansas had 5 guys in double figures, of course, but even the 2 not, Jonas Adu and Billy Richmond, those guys combined to make some of the biggest plays of the game. There's not one single guy who played for Arkansas tonight that they could have won that game without. And that's kind of what it needed to be when you're already out without your heartbeat.
And I mean, the free throws at the end. How many times have we finished Arkansas games and gotten here on this post game show and been like, hey, these dudes can't make their free throws, like, oh, if you just shot 70% from the line, you win that game. How many times have we heard John Calipari like free throws? Clutch, man, in overtime there. Nelly Davis, that's big time stuff. This has not been easy for John L. Davis this season. It really hasn't. No. And, for him to step up there and knock down those free throws in overtime like he did, that's why getting a guy with Final Four experience is so important. He wasn't tripping about this February game against Texas in the clutch. He's been in much bigger stages, and it showed in this one. Jonas, it certainly has not gone the way he hoped it would be. And yeah, for him to go up there, he's like sub 50% in SEC play. But you know what? This is a dude who's done this at an all SEC level, been a part of a team that's gone to an Elite 8, and he's produced in key moments, and he was up for the challenge there. So good on those guys for stepping up. Trevin Brazile, man, incredibly. I'm happy for TB. I'm so happy for him. The dude has just been getting drugged relentlessly. And I'm going to listen, hear me before everybody gets in the comments. I don't blame you. Okay. Because for the last 2-3 weeks here, he's looked unfocused, and you're wondering about his motor, like all the things that endeared us to him again early in the season, they just all dropped off a cliff. And you're really wondering what in the world is going on. They needed somebody to step up here. Trevin made the most sense. You put him in the starting lineup. He bangs 2 threes right away. He's got the crazy putback dunk. He catches the sick lob from Billy Richmond, who gave him the goggles. And he finishes this game with 12 points and 8 rebounds. I said that, nobody could come in and replace a Dude Thero solo. Trevin basically did that. He basically did. And Arkansas has got to figure some things out offensively. They're a different team without Thero in there. But I tell you what, having TB and Big Z on the floor at the same time in your front court, that makes your spacing crazy. That makes you a really difficult team to guard. And it allows your wings and your backcourt to get downhill a little bit more. I don't want them to practice before Saturday, but I hope that they're able to work on some things because I think this could be kind of a cool team offensively with this different dynamic.
Yeah, you mentioned the spacing. I mean, obviously, when Trevin comes out there and knocks down 2 threes right off the bat, first time it touches his hand, certainly caught their attention, and we know how much Z can shoot it. Arkansas ends up this game. They only took 17 threes, but they made 9 of them. But again, I feel like that kind of set the tone when Trevin hit those 2. And I think Texas made that same conclusion you did, where they're like, holy cow, like we knew Theo was going to be out. We didn't know what they were going to do, but this 2 big lineup, which and I know Big Z and Trevin might not necessarily scream big to you, but that's 2 forwards. And I want to give you and I both some credit because we thought that Arkansas might have to go this direction. Of course, anytime you have a notable player out, people have to step up regardless of what you're doing, regardless of if you're going with 4 guards, regardless of if you're going to full court press or do something crazy. Like, you need guys to step up. I kind of had my eye on that front court, Trevin in particular. I really felt like between Trevin and Jonas, you really just needed one of those guys to be playable and competent. Dude, Trevin ended up playing 40 freaking minutes in this game. Obviously, you had 5 extra minutes with overtime. He plays 40. Jonas plays 23. Big Z plays 26. I mean, all 3 of those guys, I felt like on both ends of the floor, made huge plays. I mean, Jonas, even he finished with 8 points, had a few buckets as well down in the post, let him cook a little bit.
In there, let him go to work.
Big Z hits 3 threes, all of which came at the most clutch, opportune times. And Big Z also did a good job against a Texas team that goes with more of that 3-4 guard lineup, just taking the mismatch and getting some points in the interior there. I thought on both ends of the floor, all 3 of those guys really stepped up in Adu Thero's absence because I worried a little bit how Arkansas's physicality was going to hold up, especially because their front court, all 3 of those guys are pretty boom or bust, or at least have been for the majority of the year. So to see all those guys play well on the same night is something I don't know if I even really knew was possible.
Yeah, just man, feels good, man. Because you were right. Like that, if they would have choked that one away, it would have been devastating. There's no doubt about it. Getting over the hill like that, man, it makes you feel good. I really wish this was a Tuesday game just so they could have that extra day because like they'll chill tomorrow, like it, mandatory ice baths or whatever, and then you get on the plane Friday. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there now. I bet they don't do a shoot around Saturday morning at South Carolina. I bet they don't do it.
Yeah, this is a tough, this is a trap game of all trap games. You're feeling good. Yeah. You feel like you've clinched your NCAA tournament spot. This Texas team that Arkansas just went life and death with just got their ass whooped by that same South Carolina team. So it's gonna be interesting.
Crazy. And we're getting ready to get into your chats here, folks. So make sure you get them in, and appreciate everybody for tuning in here. It's been a wild night. Sometimes I feel like I say a lot and then I just really think about what I just watched and I become a little bit speechless. I mean, that was wild. That was a fun game. Shout out. I did want to give a shout out to Bud Walton Arena, man. Place was rocking. There's a lot of energy in there. Wasn't 100% full. Didn't really expect it to be, but the folks who were in there, man, they understood the assignment. It got loud and rowdy and they were engaged. Little period of time there in the second half when it got quiet, but man, they really impacted things down the stretch. And it's good to see, man, because there's been a lot of games where we haven't been able to say that, but the last handful here, they've really figured it out, and it's cool to see them supporting this basketball team as they really make a run to do something unprecedented. You get off to the worst start in SEC play in program history, and now you're on the brink of earning a bid to the NCAA tournament. It does help that Oklahoma lost to Kentucky. Shout out to Kentucky. The team that bubble teams face to get their resume built up. Like if you're a bubble team, you beat Kentucky. It's just in your DNA. And I laugh because everybody's like, oh yeah, well, Kentucky's going to get a 3 seed or whatever. Well, good luck playing a 6 or an 11 because you're going to be playing, like an unranked team. And that's the teams that you can't beat. But they beat Oklahoma. Thank God. Wake Forest. Can we stop talking about them? Can we please stop talking about them now? Because they lost to Virginia. All right. They're done. Let's be done with that. So I think unless this is really just one of those like LSU a couple years ago situations where no matter what they did, they just kept rising in the net rankings and Muss would go nuts about it. Unless it's that for Texas, I just don't see a world where Arkansas is not in that, at least in that last 4 buys category. And you just got a sliver of breathing room. Huge win for the Hogs, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's still a lot to figure out because we're kind of waiting. We got the update that Aduthero is what was the term they used for that? Hyperextension is what they're going with, and of course they alluded to it on the broadcast, him going to LA, which I know made a lot of Razorback fans cringe. There's still questions about how far this team can take this thing, but ultimately, like this time of year, you don't really get to be picky. You don't get to look forward too much. It's just here's a task at hand, get it done. Find a way to get it done. Arkansas got a very important task. Of course, you're alluding to Kentucky beating Oklahoma. That's a team that has a win over Arkansas. So that's still one that is kind of going to sting no matter where Arkansas finishes up. But Arkansas really just did so much for themselves here. And I mean, Texas is going to be a team that is kind of in that same mix. It's just such a good message to send to the committee of, hey, we played this team twice. We beat them. We have the exact same metrics all the way across the board. We should be pretty safe right now. And so you look at, there's still going to be plenty to move and shake, but man, this is one that Arkansas really, I hadn't considered the possibility of them losing up until the last few minutes. And I started really doing the math of how bad that loss would have been just for all those same reasons. And so it's big time, man. It's big time for sure.
Yes, it is. Okay, let's get into the chats. I mean, here we go again.
I know where we're starting.
Yeah. Mark Arnold, again, man, just unbelievably grateful and appreciative. And we say every time that you do this, please hit us up, man. And let us know who you are, where you're from. Let us take care of you a little bit. Let us get you some gear. You're shouting us out. We want to be able to shout you out, man. But thank you sincerely. We really do appreciate it. He says, I was ready to go in if they needed 5 fouls. Don't say that too loud because Cal might have to turn to you. I mean, it's crazy. I know he said in the pregame radio, he was basically like, listen, we've got Jaden Carlette with a freshman and maybe we get him a couple minutes if we need to. And he's like, outside of that, we were working on a 2-2 zone in practice. Like if we've got to play with 4, some of those other guys aren't even healthy or like they've already committed to red shirts is what I think people don't understand. Like Melo Sanchez and Aiden Kelly, they don't even really warm up with the team. They just stand at half court and then they like pass for the big men there. So they truly have like 8 guys that they can actually physically check into a game and have them play minutes. And Mark, you might be the 9th man. So, gear up.
Yeah, Cal's going to catch wind of this. You'll hear him say it on pregame radio against South Carolina. Hey, I mean, Jaden Carletta and Mark Arnold, those are our guys.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right. We got Captain Solo chilling in Alaska, and we appreciate you too, man. He says, shorthanded and down goes Texas, woo pig suey. And that's the other beautiful part about this. We've made it, 20 minutes, and we just haven't even mentioned the fact that it was Texas.
Texas.
Man.
One more time, horns.
There were a lot of horns down. Salutes going on in the crowd, which you love to see. There was the kid. I don't know if they showed him on the broadcast, but they showed him on the jumbo screen in Bud Walton. He had the I Hate Texas shirt on, and that really got people going. But anytime you take down the Longhorns in any sport, it feels good. And the sweep, that's a beautiful thing. That's Arkansas's only sweep this year because they split with Missouri and LSU.
That is crazy. They couldn't sweep the Tigers, but they could hook the horns. And man, just and knowing what a gut punch that is for Texas. This was kind of not their last chance. Like they're still probably going to be projected in the tournament, but a team that's now lost 5 of 6. You can't win in the game where Trey Johnson damn near breaks every record on the planet. You get a Herculean effort from him. That has to be a loss that kind of takes the wind out of their sails, especially after they took the lead in the final minutes there.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to look. This is the crazy thing about it for Texas is they just had this this double bubble game against Arkansas, and their last 3 games they get Georgia at home, so another team right there. So they're going to have the same situation Saturday. Then they're at Mississippi State, so have fun going and playing in the hump, and then they finish the year with a home game against Oklahoma. It's like they're playing in these do or die death matches here the rest of the way, and good luck. Good luck to Georgia, Mississippi State, and Oklahoma figuring out Trey Johnson. I swear, if Arkansas winds up matched up with them in the SEC tournament, I'm going to lose it. I would rather see Cooper Flagg than Trey Johnson. I mean, the dude is unreal, man.
Well, and we kind of talked about this on the show today, where we were like, maybe that's the key, is just letting Trey Johnson do what he's going to do, because he's going to get his no matter what. But we felt like those other guys, if they don't get going, that probably helps your chances. I did not, when I was saying that, I did not think 39. I was thinking just give him 20, 24 points. Maybe he takes 17 shots or so. But again, if he had like pretty much any help, Tremont Mark ends up going 2 points, 1 of 8 in this game. Kaluma had 13 points, but I thought he was actually like kind of bad in this game.
Yeah,
he did a good job on things. Like I didn't think, and I thought Arkansas did a good job defensively against him. I think TB had a lot of times where he was defending his drives, or they couldn't really find a matchup to get him going. And I think Arkansas having those two bigs kind of affected him a little bit.
Yeah, how about that? They wound up playing the Jonas Z lineup a decent amount of possessions, and the first time they did it, it lasted for like 40 seconds, and Cal's like, nah, we can't do this. But then they stuck with it for a couple minutes there, a little bit later, and it looked good. But yeah, I thought Trevin, I felt like his length and athleticism impacted Kaluma in Austin, and I felt like the same thing happened in this game today. So
I want to ask our chat, because we do have a lot of people in the chat today, which shout out to everybody for tapping in with us at 11 on a freaking Wednesday night.
I could just sleep after what we just saw.
I mean, seriously, why do y'all not like it whenever the announcers properly credit a guy? I mean, he had 39 points on 14 to 28 shooting.
I can't even be mad.
Handedly almost beat Arkansas. Like, why would they not give him a lot of love? He was awesome. I mean, did y'all not watch the game?
It's like I said at the top. I feel like he was getting superstar treatment with the whistles, but he is a superstar. So like, I'm not even that mad about it. The guy was he was incredible, man. It's 14 of 28. My goodness, and 7 of 11 from 3. And I feel like 5 of those were hotly contested, or he's double teamed, and just, I mean,
you give that dude an inch, man, and you're watching it go through the net.
Yeah, seriously. We got JB Smith here. We appreciate you for the super chat, and I love the little Abby there. Says horns down, baby. Woo, freaking pig. Yeah, that's what a great combination that is. Honestly, is there a better combination of sayings in sports than horns down and woo pig?
Woo pig.
I don't know.
Especially not a woo effing pig.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. Big salty hog. I for whatever reason, this is one of my favorite
names to read.
Favorite names. Says C-Dub, keep the challenges coming. Brazil stepped up big. Yeah. I was mentioning, I guess it was in the Pod at the Palace preview this morning, how when you and I would do the previews for football, and we go through and like issue the challenges and kind of how that worked. And I was like, screw it, TB challenge, man. What are you going to do with it? And I don't know that you could have realistically asked for more than what you got from Trevin in this one. I think we forget sometimes, and I get it. He's a very polarizing dude and has his ups and downs and things that drive you crazy. Really talented basketball player. Like, he's really good.
I mean, and look, it was cool to see Arkansas. So many guys on Arkansas's offense play with that confidence. I mean, the 2 shots he made to start the game, those are shots you only take if you're confident that you're going to make them. And we've seen Trevin be a dominant offensive player at times. I was getting texts from our boy Hazelwood, who was like, "It looked like Maui TB, looked like Maui," and remember how good he looked. He was basically taking games over. He has that potential, but it was cool to see other guys like Carter Knox also playing with that same confidence. And I think he did the same thing he always does, where he's like, I think he finished 3 of 6, where it's like, dude, just take more shots. But you have Nelly making his fair share. DJ made some big shots. I mean, he wasn't super efficient, but he made some big shots for Arkansas as well. Like, everybody was confident in their offensive game at time. And again, Arkansas needed them all.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely did. Trey Links, and I do want to add on Trevin hitting that first 3. Like, he scored Arkansas's first points. He knocked down that 3. That set the tone. I mean, I really do believe in my heart of hearts, had he missed that shot, he wouldn't have played nearly as well as he did. But he needed to see that one go down.
40 minutes.
Unreal.
He hadn't played 40 minutes in like the last week, or like the last 3 weeks
combined. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. Trey Langston, he says Tremont Mark averaged 1 point per game versus the Hogs this season. Bum. That's crazy. And I will say, yeah, they did the boo him at Bud or whatever thing. And I know earlier in the week, I think it was HH that brought it up. He's like, "Oh, don't do that." And I was like, "Screw it, boo him." I did feel a little, I wasn't crazy about it once we got in there, but also you kind of pick a little bit of off the radar, obscure role player who's, he's going to be in there long enough for you to boo, but it's not like they chose Trey Johnson. frankly, Tremont Mark was the perfect pick for it.
He does fit that kind of criteria because you can't pick the point guard, you can't pick the star player, you can't even Kaluma's like a little too. He's like overqualified for the Boo the guy at Bud.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tremont Mark was kind of that perfect guy. And look, you're talking to the biggest Tremont Mark hater on the planet. I also feel like Hawk fans shouldn't have any actual animosity towards Trevon. I mean towards Tremont.
Yeah. Man, 1 of 8. That's tough. And his only bucket was like just a backdoor layup. Like he didn't do anything off the bounce. Looked like they were checking him for a concussion or something at one point, and he came back in there. He probably doesn't want to see Razorback anymore. I don't blame him. Garrett McCullum, we appreciate you for the super chat, brother. He says, I need a pee tizzle and 5 shots of whiskey just to calm down. Yes, it's crazy. Like it's already 11:15 at night here, and we still got a ways to go in this show and some other stuff to do. I know this is just going to be a night where sleep ain't a thing. It's going to take forever to calm down. We're buzzing around here. Let's see. Just kind of going through the super chats, and then we'll get to everything else. AI Comedy Collab, we appreciate you. Says, just a thought. Had DJ made both at the end, it might have changed Texas' psychology, knowing that they must score and way to unite regardless of the lineup. Yeah, I mean, it's just that's not easy, man. And they were having to use some lineup combinations that they really haven't used that much, and try some different things, run some different stuff, because your ability to attack a defense with Adu Thero versus Trevon Brazile in that spot, or Jonas Adu in that spot, or whatever they were trying to do, it's very, very different. And so, I think back to after that Missouri game when Cal, he said like, hey, we had 2 days to kind of reinvent ourselves without Boogie Flan. And they went out there and beat Georgia. And same thing here. Like, you get the huge win over Mizzou, and then it's, hey, we got a couple days to kind of reinvent ourselves again. And they come out here and beat Texas. Just really impressive stuff. And, we've been defending Cal here a lot lately, and we can say all we want about the roster construction and some of the stuff early on. During this stretch, like in the month of February, he has done a hell of a job coaching this basketball team. The way he handled subs tonight, the press breakers, inbounds plays, a lot of stuff that he did was super, super timely. I wish they could have made an adjustment on that play that Texas ran like 85 times in a row. Outside of that, really, really impressive. He let the chalk talk, man. He's doing a good job.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking about the highlights of Trevon Brazile. I saw someone make something about that because John brought up how we need to have a highlight dunk with Trevon Brazile. That was one of my favorite chalk talks of the night, getting Trevon on that nice Billy Richmond pass to him. I was thinking about this, about the change in the psychology. Do you think Texas would have called timeout if Arkansas had been up 1? Because it was tie game, and it's a little bit easier to let it play out. But they chose not to. They chose to keep a lot of their timeouts in the second or in the overtime, which they used like crazy then. But do you think they would have maybe called timeout?
Maybe so. They had one left there, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and they chose just to kind of let it play out. Trey Johnson got a pretty good look.
Yeah, no, he definitely did, and he kind of had a little bit of a shoulder on his hip there. I'm surprised they didn't give him that superstar call, but boy, if they would, oh my gosh, could you imagine if they whistled on?
He would have gone crazy.
JT Hazelwood, our man, he says didn't plan on drinking. About to shotgun so many beers tonight. Woo pig suey.
Love that.
Well deserved. Well
Absolutely.
deserved shotgunning of beers. The fellas can't do it, so you can. Scott Walker, thank you.
Hell yeah, Scott Walker.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Landon Jackson, hey, good luck right now. Aren't you doing something important right now?
Did we determine this is like the Landon Jackson as in like the big one?
We're just going to assume that's the case. Yes. Okay. He says Trey Johnson goes for 39. Thero ruled out. Hogs win. Makes perfect sense. Woo freaking pig. Yeah. I mean, never a doubt. This is exactly what we expected to happen. And it went down exactly the way we thought it would, for sure.
It's one of those. That's why all this adds up as to why you're not going to complain and nitpick over certain things. And well, they should have done that. Dude, they just needed to win. We don't care how it looks. Don't complain about these precious SEC victories.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's go rapid fire through some other chats here and see what we got. Ryan Bryant says, ready to see the Vice TV on that one. Yeah, me too. That's a whole episode, right? Especially between Missouri and then this one. That might be
those are two gut check performances. And it really is cool. That's one of the coolest things about the Vice documentary is getting to see what these wartime scenarios are like we get to see a little bit of kind of reactions on the bench. We can read body language, but to see these documentaries and see the conversations that are being had from the coaching staff, players, how everybody kind of feels when they're in that foxhole together. It's good stuff, man. It's been the best part of the documentary, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's been really cool to see. I'm anxious. I'm more anxious to see what's going to come Monday than I have been for any of these other ones, man. I'm looking forward to it. Matthew Ward says, I never want to play against Trey Johnson ever again. Me either. Yeah, I never want to see that dude again. I will look forward to watching him succeed in the NBA.
Yeah.
That dude is the real deal, man. Chase Cannon says, don't look now, but Adu played a great game tonight. How about Jonas Adu? Comes in, checks into the game. He gets that steal right away, and then Nelly hit that like NBA range transition 3. And I think that's when you text the group, Andrew, and you're like, they got this. They got this tonight. Turned out to be true.
It was 11-8. I was like, yeah, sure, they're good.
But no, he played really well. 3 back to the basket buckets, man. Contested. It's just, it's kind of the guy that you thought you were getting. Like he's got that in him, and he's a little bit healthier now and got some more pep in his step, and he's got some confidence. So that was really good to see. Scored in there against the zone when Arkansas was struggling at times, and man, they were looking for him and dumping it in there. And that's one thing I did like about what they were doing offensively, aside from DJ Wagner just trying to force it and throwing it directly into Texas's hands about a half dozen times. But they were looking for their bigs on the roll for a change, and that's something they've been bad about all year. But man, that's got to be a part of your game. So good on them for that, and good on Jonas for a game well played. Finished with 8 points on 3 of 5 from the field, knocked down those 2 key free throws late. And I know we got a super chat about that intentional that just a regular chat that we'll get to about that to talk about it. And then he had 4 rebounds. So, and he blocked that dunk. That was the biggest play of the game from Adu. Awesome. Just he wasn't having it at the rim.
It looked like it hurt his. It looked like, watching the slow mo, I'm like, dude, I bet that hurt his hand. They showed it because his hand got like bent back against the rim because he like met it there. It was that close to the rim. That was awesome.
Yeah, really cool. Sacrilegious says Brazil knew we needed him. Good game from him. Yes, no, absolutely. That was fantastic, man. Exactly what they needed. Now, can he build on it? Can you get some more consistency out of him? You certainly hope so. But for this particular night, he stepped up. Jason Padigo says DJ got to put in some free throw work, though. Yeah, he's 4-6, but the crunch time ones there. Yeah, the 2 that he missed were big. But shout out to Nelly and Adu for bailing him out there.
That's who Arkansas needed at the line was Jonas Adu.
Yeah,
turned out.
Of course. It's let's see. Random stuff. This was a gross end, but all that matters is that the game is going in the win column.
True statements.
I think overtime was beautiful. But boy, the end of the second half was about as stressed out as I've been watching a Razorback basketball game in a while, and that's saying something. Hayden Short, we got to agree with this, right? He says this team's clearly going balls to the wall, and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's crazy that we're not that far removed from, kind of questioning what's the care factor? Like, how hard are these guys playing? Maybe Cal was right all along. That it's just going to take him some time to figure it out, and then I think they certainly have.
He's gotten to the point where he's dragging them across now, man. But no, they definitely I don't want to be dramatic and say like they have the it factor or whatever, but you just kind of trust them to give good effort in these big moments. You trust them to put their best foot forward. They're going to still lose games to get down the stretch here, I'm sure. It's not always going to be beautiful. They might not always play well, but they're going to play hard. Their effort is definitely something that at this point we just can't question. And you're getting like a decent version of all these guys, which is really what we've been waiting on all year long. It feels like it was always you get these 2 guys going and then these 2 guys wouldn't. It seems like they're at least kind of in sync as a unit. They like playing together. Yeah. Yep.
And Megan says Big Z's health is a concern now, though. Yeah, he was really favoring that back. Every time he came off the floor, they were putting that heat pad on him. He's probably getting some electrical stim on there too, just trying to keep him loosened up. Yeah, that's definitely something. Anytime you got a big man who's favoring his back like that, it's a concern. But No, I mean, seriously, no practice for Z the next couple of days. Like just have him in the ice bath, get all the treatment, and keep him stretched out and as limber as possible. And he'll be okay. Like everybody's battling through something now. He was definitely favoring that thing, but it's part of the grind.
Yeah.
And like he continued to come in there and make plays. Like he's holding his back and he's got that hot pack on him, and then he'll check into the game and post up and dunk on somebody. This is kind of exactly what was going down in overtime. So I guess we'll take it. Okay. Cats by 90. First of all, didn't your team just like they finished about the same time Arkansas did, right? And here you are, which is interesting. He says, great win with 2 leading scorers out. First of all, that's so rich coming from any Kentucky fan. I can't get past it on my timeline. It's, did you know that Kentucky they haven't had Jackson Robinson or Lamont Butler, but our Lord and Savior, Mark Pope, he really has just got us across. Did you see that, Perry? Did you see that, Noah, and that Chandler? Oh my goodness gracious, heavens to Betsy. That's so impressive. Shut up, dude. That's an incredible win for Arkansas. And yes, it matters. They grinded it out. They figured it out when Boogie was gone. Thero's out, and then you have to kind of recalibrate and do it again. Yes, it was a great win. Shut up. Go away. Follow
and
your
by the way, we said that today on the show. We were like, we're not going to be doing, if Arkansas loses to Texas, we're not going to be doing he didn't have Thero. We even said it like the title of the show was no Thero, no excuses. We went in kind of saying, these are the circumstances. It's put up or shut up time. No time to feel sorry for yourself. Arkansas didn't feel sorry for themselves. Perhaps the Cats could learn a thing or two.
Yeah, seriously. Jakota says, honestly, to survive a 40 ball from Trey and only have 7 guys, huge win. That's how everybody should feel. I think that's how everybody should feel. Let's see. What else do we have here? Yeah, I mean, it's good to see Cal getting his flowers a little bit in here. Swins on Cal, fantastic coaching. I agree. I thought he did a really good job. Yeah, God, it was Cats by 9 again that I had checked here. He says the flagrant at the end was the most bogus call I've seen in a long time. Again, you're a moron. Change the outcome. Yes, committing a flagrant foul and a very obvious one did change the outcome. Adu shooting free throws with no pressure. It was the clearest intentional foul that I've ever seen. He was getting beat down the floor, grabbed his jersey and pulled it out of his shorts. If that's not intentional, I'm not entirely sure what is.
If you don't call that intentional, then you're basically telling teams you can choose the free throw shooter down the stretch.
Right.
There's a reason why there's the verbiage they have in there is so that you don't do that, so that you don't just grab a random player, don't make it play against the ball. It would be concerning if they didn't call that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I know it's just a troll job, but we need to talk about that play because it was consequential. And Rodney Terry was like laughing in disgust, like he just couldn't believe that it happened. I mean, it's textbook. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It's not like he tripped the kid or slapped him in the face or anything like that, but there are multiple ways to have an intentional foul, and you intentionally grab somebody's jersey and pull it out of his shorts so you don't get beat for a home run ball. That qualifies.
Well, I don't know, Curtis. It could have just been a coincidence that 70 feet from the basket, he decided to grab Arkansas's worst free throw shooter on the floor at the time. It could have been a coincidence. We don't really know, but ultimately, Texas didn't score for the rest of the game, even when they got the ball back. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. David, he says, and I just want to touch on this real quick. He said announcers on the call said a dude was in LA for a second opinion. Do people get second opinions on hyperextensions? Please say yes. People get second opinions on everything. Yeah.
You get a second opinion if you get diagnosed with the flu.
Yeah.
You'll call up your other doctor for a second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go get a swab. Is it flu? Is it COVID? We don't know. Is it both? Let us figure it out.
For real, with the knee, you're definitely like going to be cautious, especially when you're a guy, when there's literally, I mean, I hate to say it, knock on wood, like millions of dollars on the table. If we're talking about a guy that could potentially be a first round draft pick, like, yeah, he's going to want to make sure he gets the right opinion on this thing. And everyone always brings up the Nick Smith Jr. thing. Do y'all not remember that Nick Smith came back and played? I know he played poorly, but like everyone always cites the clutch, LA, blah, blah, blah. He came back and played. And I know he didn't play well, but it's like, it wasn't because he quit on the team.
I'll tell you what cracks me up is, folks used to get so upset during the Muss era because there was no transparency given on injuries and everything like that. Everybody remembers the whole knee management thing, and it drove folks nuts. And then the U of A just sends out a very clear update, like, hey, this is exactly what his injury is. Nope, we don't think it's going to be a surgical deal, and he's out indefinitely. And people were just freaking out about, like, it was the worst news in the world. It's like when we find out that he's out, and I'm like, yeah, that's really tough. It's gonna be a big deal. Then people were calling me a moron, like I was overdoing it, And it's like, oh, what are you talking about? It's really not that big of a deal. They'll play the other guys and it's fine. But then when you get an update that's positive, then everybody's like, oh no. He's out indefinitely. Well, what'd you expect? Of course he is. You could have been told that he had to have surgery or that he already had surgery, which is what we heard with Boogie. You could have been told that he was out for the year. You have hope in getting him back. It's a positive update. And the amount of folks that were upset about it, I'm like, I mean, I don't really know what else you expected to hear.
I don't like, I'm literally still seeing people in the chat that are like, oh no, Rich Paul. Yeah. NSJ just didn't care. Again, do y'all not remember that's not how that story ended? Like, it doesn't. I don't understand how a potential first round pick, getting a second opinion. That's pretty like standard practice. I feel like, and yeah, I like you said, they're never going to be happy with whatever updates you get.
Yeah, I appreciate them doing that. I mean, it's just not something that we really got much of before. Here we got Ryan McDaniel. No, Curtis, we don't feel good. No, Thero. Z looks hobbled. How do we make it through the next 3 games? Probably still need to win 2 of 3. Can you just enjoy a huge overtime win over a fellow bubble team? I mean, gosh, man.
Well, and again, like we've been saying, it just makes these next few games, it relieves some pressure a little bit, which is why this win is so important, which is why we're going to enjoy it.
Yeah. Would you have preferred to have lost this game and then you would have felt like they need to win 3 out of 3 or whatever after going through all this with Thero out and Z holding his back or whatever? Like this is a good night. Worry about that tomorrow. We'll talk about it. I promise you. Listen, we'll talk about it plenty, man. But
I mean, we're on hour 1 of our 24-hour rule.
Yeah, that's right. Totino's boy says, leaving Bud Walton right now in the Razorback transit bus we're riding in. Just scrape the crap out of another transit bus on the way out. Woo pig. Good. that's great to hear. Hope everybody's okay. Yeah, Jared Poe. Is that a Twitch?
That's a Twitcher.
Says T-Mark just can't play against our guys. I kind of feel bad. Not. I'm glad I saw that at the end. When I started earlier, I was like, what do you mean you feel bad? Sarcasm. I got it. Yeah, shout out to John from Zach for calling the TB highlight play. The putback dunk was nice, even though he posted his teammate. Yeah, who did he dunk on there on the putback? I'm sure I can't remember who missed the shot.
Was it Billy or Carter?
Sounds like
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but yeah, he had a couple dunks tonight.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was the putback, the lob from Billy. Did he get another one? That might have been it. I don't know. Good on him. Good on him. Looks like we've got some more super chats in here. Let's get to those from Carmaduke. And we appreciate you. Carmaduke's, I don't know if you were today, but usually an in-game chatter. Old Carmaduke says Adu and TB combined for 20, 12, and 4. Picked up all Thero stats plus some. Getting those two going is huge down the stretch. Texas sweep is nice. Must win game. 1. Woo pig. I think that's the perfect approach to how to feel about what we just witnessed. Kudos to you. I think it's good. SCT says, my daughter only knows winning Razorback basketball. That's big time. I mean, and it's true.
Yeah. I mean, hey, credit to you, SCT. It seems you've done us all a solid by procreating and giving more fuel to you've given the Razorback athletic program dad strength.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Scott Walker says, what about the pass from Big Z to TB? Yes. That was crazy, by the way, where Big Z just kind of a little up fake. He put it on the deck. All of a sudden he's going to the hole and then he drops it off to Trevin for the and 1, which he missed the free throw. So it was an and none, but he finished it there. That was crazy. I just tweeted out that it's nuts how Big Z is able to get off some of those threes and make some of the threes that he makes. And then he put it on the floor and made a play like that. He looked like Jokic out there for a minute. So Yeah, that was a really impressive play. It's good to see. Logan, our man, says, that's big time stuff right there. He says, shout out Papa Joe. Like I said earlier, good day to be a hog, bad day to be a Longhorn. You're right about that, my friend. You're absolutely right about that. Good work.
Papa Joe, is that Jonas Adu?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Which
I didn't know that was the thing.
Did you hear the soundbite of at Sassy's on Monday when Cal was like talking about Jonas coming around and playing well for him? He was like, for a while, he looked like he's 38 years old. Like, how old is this guy? What's going on? I love that he calls it how he sees it.
Yeah. Cal really, he doesn't mind just really making one of his players feel bad. I mean, he did it with Karl Anthony Towns, and Karl Anthony Towns is a grown man playing, NBA level basketball. I mean, all-star level basketball. And he's just oh yeah, you couldn't rebound at all. He doesn't mind throwing his players a little shot here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. Hayden Homer says TB did that thing today. Curtis is a proud papa. Love TB, man. I do. It's no secret that I've known Trevin for like 7-8 years at this point. We've covered him as a scout when he was a 6'3" freshman at Parkview High School in Springfield, Missouri. So want to see him succeed, and I know he's had his ups and downs. Like I said, he's polarizing, and I get it. But to see him ball out in a huge opportunity here, yeah, it does my soul some good. Good for TB, man. Captain Soul, I guess, is probably about Cats by 90. Me and Cats by 90 have a unique relationship. It's a love-hate thing. It's a good dynamic. It's kind of like Tom and Jerry a little bit. I appreciate Cats by 90, even when the trolls are terrible like they were tonight. But it says, oh my goodness gracious, Evans and Betsy, tell him, Curtis. But it's true. Like here you are after your team just won. These games start at the same time, and you're in the Arkansas stream, and you're really saying anything to us about giving this team props for winning shorthanded when we can't. I swear it'll be like 3 days after a game, and then like I think I said the other day, it's like Kentucky fans, by like the hair on the back of their neck just stands up, and I'm sure they're out there keyboard just like, oh my gosh, Kentucky's been shorthanded. Mark Pope is such a great coach. They won a game. Woo! Like it just, I mean, it's wild, bro. And yeah, nice work. Kudos to you. Give the kudos to us. They're doing the same thing over here at Arkansas, man.
I mean, and like, let's just be honest, did a real solid to the Arkansas Razorbacks tonight by beating Oklahoma. I think Arkansas is the only last 4-in team to win tonight, right?
I think so. Vanderbilt won, but I think they were in that.
They were a bye, right?
Ahead, yeah.
And by the way, they're going to stay over there.
Yeah, they're in, man. That win at Texas A&M was huge for them. So, yeah, that probably just about clinched it for them. I would imagine.
So they can throw Arkansas a bone next week.
Yeah, they don't need it. Let's see. Let me get back out of here. I lost my place. We got a lot going on in this chat, man. This is awesome.
I was looking for, and somebody said there was a Lenardi update, and if there is, he didn't tweet it out. Maybe they did it on like a broadcast or something like that. But I was looking to see if he because you know how he'll do that sometimes. He'll like tweet out a little, oh hey, this is what happened after tonight's games. But I don't know if he's done that yet.
I'm looking forward to seeing that, because if he disrespects the Hogs, I think we're just gonna have to go crazy on him.
Yeah, they just hold serve. I didn't win by
enough. Let's see. I'm just kind of working my way down to the bottom of the chat here because I know we've got a bunch of reactions and everything like that. Okay, so Anna says, I guess it was Carter who might have got dunked on there by TB on the follow.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw a few people saying that.
Yeah, good on him. And Carter was hurt today. That's another thing that Cal talked about in the pregame radio. We were so focused on Adu being listed as out on the injury report and stuff, and Carter was on there, and he was listed as probable yesterday, and so we were like, what's really going on here? And Cal said that was part of his interview. He was like, yeah, like we had a guy get hurt in practice, and we weren't really sure what that was going to look like for him. So, I mean, hell, he played 41 minutes, the most on the team, so he's all right, but probably not 100%. Again, stop practicing. You just can't afford to get anybody else hurt.
Definitely not in this stretch here. Now, there's no reason to even step on the floor Thursday or Friday.
No. Yeah, watch film tomorrow. I mean that. Used to do that with our players. Mandatory ice baths, man. Like getting there and chill it out a little bit. Treatment, shoot some free throws or something. I don't know, but yeah, please don't break a sweat. Goodness
Curtis,
gracious.
I have breaking news.
Okay, what do we got?
The Arkansas Razorbacks are in the last 4 byes.
Let's go.
Oklahoma moves down a little bit. Wake Forest is now in that first 4 out.
Wow.
I guess you can kind of see the updates here a little bit, but Kentucky solid as a 3 seed there.
Okay, all right.
I'm glad that. I like the breathing room. Vanderbilt off the bubble entirely, as in a good way.
Yeah, man. Good for them. I mean, they really earned that. This is interesting. So Wake Forest, I think, was right there with Arkansas in the last 4 in earlier. You just can't do that. I mean, they lost to Florida State at home. That's a Q3. Virginia has been dog water this year, and you lost to them. So yeah, move those dudes out of the field. And let's see, where was Texas? Were they still in?
4 in, right?
They're still in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good. And I wouldn't even move them down that far if we're losing this game to Arkansas by 5 that they were projected to lose by 5 at KenPom, but
right.
I'm just really pleased to see Arkansas move ahead of them in the pecking order there. And so now you're looking at some of those other teams that are just a little bit ahead of you to give yourself even more room. So like I saw Nebraska on there. Okay. Nebraska ball. Let's see if Arkansas can pass them. San Diego State's been hovering around. And then who's the other team? You still have that? Can you pull that back up?
Yeah, you're right here.
Baylor. That's right.
Who you're not gonna be able to pass them, I don't think.
Yeah, you did lose to them, but they've really been dropping some games. They've got a couple, I think, winnable ones here coming up at home. But yeah, look at that first 4 out. You want to talk about a weak bubble?
North Carolina, seeing North Carolina as that first 4 out team makes me feel so good because I know Arkansas could lose out and have a better resume than those bums.
Right. Yeah. I mean, come on. That's
Georgia's also a team you've beaten, a team that you have a better conference record than, I think by 2 games maybe. So like there's some, you just look at those teams and you do the numbers, you feel pretty good. By the way, Ohio State is currently in a dogfight with Eric Musselman. They are up 5 with a couple minutes left. So we'll see if Ohio State can hold on and get a big win.
If Muss was able to pull that one off, we'll send him a video chat. And if he's listening to this, he knows what we're talking about, right?
That'd be good.
Okay, let's this will make our stuff look weird here, but we've got a wild card that's gonna join the show for a second. We want to get the quick thoughts here. From one Mr. John Neighbors. We decided to pull you in. We weren't sure, just so everybody knows, like on our stage, a lot of times John will be producer John, by the way. He'll be in here, but like his camera will be off and he's putting up clips for us from the press conference and everything like that. His camera's on this time. And so like if your camera's on one of the Zoom press conferences, it usually means you have a question or you have something to say. So we've been texting back and forth, but we're just going to impromptu bring John in here and see how he feels about this game.
I love coaching this team.
Come on.
That's all that needed to be said. What a game. I mean, again, I'm not going to come in here and ruin the parade for everybody, but man, that was awesome. That was fun. That was entertaining. It was a fun win. Good beating Texas. And yeah, it's late. It's a late night and a late game, but worth every bit of price and admission. Shout out to the crowd. Crowd was really good tonight.
Yes.
Especially there at the stretch down when it got to the nitty gritty. So shout out to the crowd. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And now, I figure you stuck around. Obviously I left a little bit early. That way I could get back here for the show. So I wasn't in there for the very end of regulation and overtime. What were the reactions every time Trey Johnson hit another crazy shot? Is he really silencing that place or?
Oh, dude. Like everyone was saying, kill him, like hurt him, just get him out of the game. Like whatever it was. I haven't seen anything like that. It reminded me of the performance that Jody Meeks had for Kentucky like years ago.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, a lot of times they played great defense on him. He's just hitting shots. I haven't seen anything like it, but I'll be honest, I didn't feel good going into overtime. It's like, man, the gas, legs ain't going to happen, but man, they gritted it out, man. They persevered. And I just saw the video that Arkansas posted in the locker room. They called a do and did it on the speaker on the FaceTime. And one of the funny things that he said though, is Cal asked me, he's like, well, let me ask you, would you have made those free throws that Jonas made? And then you can't really hear what Deuce says. And Cal goes, he said, hell no. He's like, no. He said, hell yes. So that was pretty funny to see. And yeah, it was again, just a great night, and beating Texas and winning that game was just electric. So
yes, needed.
Is that why Cal skipped the presser, because he was on the phone with Thero?
Guess so.
He skipped the presser again.
Sure did. Sure did. Kenny Payne, baby.
Heck yeah.
Yep. Where I'm sure he's over here just saying that was a good win, great win. Grinded out that win. We were really proud of the guys.
Our guys,
the most electric on the mic, Kenny Payne.
Yep. It's just a walking soundbite, just a walking soundbite from there. But
the great thing about it is Kenny Payne is the second best head coach in the building in this game, because Tony Honeycutt wants to know from you, Andrew, is the interim tag's been taken off of Rodney Terry or what?
Well, so the fake news national media would lead you to believe that the interim tag has already been taken off. I think you need to slap it right back on. I think you need to keep him humble. Keep him, keep him still. He was better when he was the interim coach, and so I think you got to keep him the interim coach, and then he's definitely in that John L. Smith territory.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I was listening to it was Norlander and Parrish. It was the Ion College basketball podcast earlier today, and they were kind of previewing the game, talking about how important it was. Which, by the way, Norlander for a change is like, no, like I feel good about Arkansas making the tournament. Like I think they're going to be in. They'll be okay. This is huge for Texas, and he was saying that his sources told him that there's a definite hot seat situation down there in Austin with Rodney Terry, and that this was a huge game for him, and he lost it. And I don't feel bad for him, but I will say, I actually thought he coached a decent ball game tonight. Found a play that worked, kept going to it, kept feeding his hot hand. I thought he did a good job of mixing things up defensively in the second half to keep Arkansas off balance. I thought he was pretty timely about when he was bringing those traps on ball screens. I thought he coached an okay game, but it wasn't good enough to beat a Hall of Famer. So I don't know what to tell you. An L is an L, buddy.
Also, I was, you guys knew this, but when the flagrant got called, which again, I was trying to explain to people because people around me were like, what did they do? I was like, well, you can't foul in the inbound because it would just, that's what everybody would do if to keep the clock. So, but either way, that was when I first realized, I'm like, oh, Frank Haith is on the staff over there at Texas.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about it because the rest didn't go and tell Rodney Terry about the flagrant. They told Frank Haith, and boy, he started looking like Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and getting very his angry face. But that was a good moment too for him to take another L in Bud Walton Arena.
I forgot about Frank Haith. That makes Rodney Terry the fourth best coach in the building tonight. That's tough. That's brutal, man. Oh yeah, and we got another super chat from Hayden Ulmer, and we appreciate you, man. He said, "Can we talk more about Rodney Terry's glasses? Looks like Samuel Jackson in 2003 on the red carpet for Revenge of the Sith. Mace Windu in charge at UT." Somebody was saying something about those glasses after his press conference. What I always notice about Rodney Terry, and I think, and we joke because it's like that was a tough situation that Texas got put in where they fired Chris Beard with the best team he's ever had, and then Rodney Terry just rolled the ball out and let him get to the Elite Eight. You had to give him the job. He seems like a great guy. Like he seems like a very genuinely good human being and good man, but probably in over his head a little bit for this type of job. But what always strikes me about him is it looks like, or it sounds like, his voice is just permanently gone. Like the dude, I don't know if he's a big screamer, but he ain't got much left in the old vocal cords, man.
You think the board of trustees will talk about that? Well, they'll be like, you got to wonder. They've been kind of going down, and can he even talk? But a coach is cooked. His days are numbered when you start hearing how good of a man he is, how good of a man of faith he is. Now, this is great. It's a great man of character. Dude's cooked. Dude,
it's the same way of if you're getting set up on a blind date and it's just like, no, but she has a great personality. It's just like, that she's going to be hideous and it's just going to be bad. But yeah, he sounds like Doc Rivers a little bit. Don't blame Blake. Don't blame Blake. He's not on Blake.
Yes. That's exactly right. Shane Lewis said, SEC Network said we went up to 53% chance to make the tourney, was 41 before, and Texas dropped to 39. At any rate, I get it in that those are ESPN's analytics. Here's what I'll say. The BPI, which is what ESPN uses, and it's part of the team sheet metrics that the selection committee looks like, that metric has been getting roasted to oblivion by the bracketologists who do this for a living, like to the point where they change some of their own formula for this bubble update stuff that they've been doing. It is not good, man. And so obviously you want to look at it because it's something that maybe they take into consideration to a degree, but it's very flawed. What I'll say is that coming into the game, Torvik, which is it's very similar to Kim Pom, and it's new to the selection committee this year. It had Arkansas like a 66% chance to get in before this win. And so I think their odds are quite a bit better than whatever ESPN continues to churn out there. They got some work to do.
And ESPN's is also accounting for like your likelihood to win those future games. And so it's really like their equation. I mean, and like you said, so many people have made fun of it. I knew Arkansas was in a good spot when Kentucky fans were citing that. They'd be like, oh, you guys only have a 40 whatever % chance, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I think we're in a good spot here.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, every bracket expert disagrees with it. I mean, we just showed Joe Lenardi, who literally doesn't even have Arkansas in the last 4 in anymore. They've graduated from that. And you have ESPN being like, yeah, it's a coin flip.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm pulling up Torvik right now to see. And I don't know if it's updated from this game or not, but it's got Arkansas at a 70% chance to get in. So,
hey, C's get degrees, baby. You're in.
That's what I learned. So, okay, let's see if we got a handful more chats and then we'll wrap it up for the night. But it's crazy, man. Again, there's still over 700 people in here. We were over 1,000 for a while there. It's like it's midnight on a Wednesday. So I'm glad to see people are excited about this basketball team. Yeah. That was crazy. Like, and honestly, it's like we said, after that, what are you supposed to do? Just like turn the TV off and go to bed?
You can't.
There's no way. There's no way. That's why we do this.
Curse, are you trying to say that not everyone's been excited about this basketball team this year? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. And I'm glad that everybody is back on board. There's always room on the bandwagon, but we know if you arrive late, like based on your seat on the bus there, we know who you are.
John, you better watch out because you're going to get this clipped out and they're going to yell at you on Twitter. Being too negative.
Yeah.
Oh, was that? Oh, yeah. Well,
why are you being so soft, John?
Yeah. Well, I get things clipped out of me all the time, apparently, and I don't even realize it. So, just one more thing, I guess.
Represent the hog. You're letting the SEC locked on guys bully you, man. Represent the hog.
I know. And they disrespect me on purpose because they feel so lowly of me that they got my name wrong. So, rough stuff.
Listen, I think I gotta agree with Chris here. He says, no shout outs to the a-hole who gave the Hogs every single 8 p.m. time slot. I wish a multi-generational curse on his family. It's between 8 p.m. midweeks and like the 7:30, 8 o'clock Saturday games too. It's been crazy. Wait until Tuesday, Chris, when you got the 9 o'clock at Vandy. 9 o'clock against Vandy. Crazy. Goodness gracious, man.
That's awful. It's absolutely awful. I mean, well, here's a little thing. Do you guys want to know how many games Arkansas has had or will have this year in SEC play before 7 p.m. Central Time?
Yes.
Of the 18 SEC games, only 5 of them have been.
Wow.
5 of them.
Tennessee.
So I guess I can read them off. Actually, maybe 6. Maybe 6. Sorry. You have Tennessee. You had Florida because that was at 3 p.m.
That's right.
You had Missouri. You had Missouri. You had A&M. And then you have Mississippi State. Oh, and I guess South Carolina. My bad. So I guess there's 6. Okay. But still, a third of your games have come only before 7 p.m. on a night.
And I'm pretty sure that game at Missouri was weird. It was like 5:30. Like it was something weird. Still.
Yeah. So it might as well have been late. Yeah. It was 5:30. Yeah. So, jeez, man.
I'm calling in you two guys to help me with this because I got to record the report card after this. David Atkinson said, "Who's the MVP?" Oh, you could go a lot of different ways. I mean, well, let's be honest. Like you guys know, I'm going with Trevin, right? Like
I think Trevin's actually the right answer too, though.
I think so.
In terms of he set the tone early offensively. I thought he made it. I didn't have a ton of like numbers. I don't know how many shots he blocked. Maybe only 1, but he affected a lot of shots defensively. And I thought rebounding wise. He really kept Arkansas in it in the because they ended up losing the rebounding total, but not because of him. I felt like he gave Arkansas a huge boost there.
Yes, God, I'm so glad that you came on this show because I was gonna say he's getting added back to the no slander list.
No slander list. He's back on.
Yes, I had a buddy text me and was talking about like if you go look in SEC play at Trevin's plus minus that it's like borderline historically bad in terms of where it's been. And that's not a knock. It's true. Like the numbers kind of don't lie there. Trevin plays 40 minutes and he leads the team in the plus minus with play. They were 13 points better in Texas with Trevin on the floor in this game. So,
and he had at least one, but should have gotten two little Trevin Brazil moments too of the elbow and in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can't be great without having those little fits that he throws. So he had a couple of those.
This is true. Do we agree with this? Transplanted Texan, he says pressures Chin Coleman over Kenny Payne. Yeah, Chin's solid in there. And Kenny's like, he's just not the most exhilarating in the world. Like he's all right, but
yeah, I don't have too much of an issue with Kenny being they're just different personalities, but one personality works better in a press conference setting, one doesn't.
Yeah, no, that's that's a good way to put it. I could see them doing a lot of good cop, bad cop stuff with Kenny Payne being good cop on that coaching staff. I really could.
He's the calming voice of reason after the fiery speech.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. We'll go down to the very bottom. Of course. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Our man Dre, once again, comes in the clutch.
I love coaching this team.
Let's go. Fantastic stuff. I mean, that's a great way to. Okay, we got to go on to some final thoughts here. That's a great way to end this.
Yeah.
No, I do think that is a great way to end it. If for no other reason other than that we're the clock is about to strike midnight. We got to get Cinderella home. We got to make sure. But no, this is. I mean, my final thoughts would be, I'm proud of the pig. This is the type of game. There's been a few games this year where we're like, doesn't matter what it looks like, just find a way to get it done. Dig deep. And I think again, like I said earlier. You can't question how much this Razorback team cares. And ultimately, I feel like if we were getting this type of team all along, this season ultimately is a race to just finding that identity. It's a race to peaking at the right time. And I don't know if necessarily tonight is a performance I would qualify as Arkansas peaking, but I think we all agree, like, if we just take this team and extrapolate it and build on what they've been doing here these last few weeks, we're okay with the results. However far they'll go, however the matchup works out in the tournament, it's all fine. But I think we all are just proud of the way this team plays, and we're content to watch them each time. We don't dread watching this team play. And early in the season, I didn't necessarily feel that way. And so regardless of how this journey ends, I'm glad that we get to watch it together. It's been a fun one, honestly.
The pig positivity is percolating, some would say.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, my only final thought is what a win, and feels good to win. It feels good to still be awake. And one more time, Horns, swept you. Hate to see it.
Get them out of here.
That's all I got. I'm just happy.
Yes, SEC.
Yes. Welcome to the SEC.
All right, we're out of here, everybody. Appreciate you guys. And yes, I saw all of the Nate Ament chats in there. We'll talk about an Inside Arkansas Live tomorrow. This is not the time nor place for that, but yeah, I saw it. I just want everybody to know. And I also saw this super chat. It says, can we get Ron Slay banned from color commentary for Hog Games? So annoying. I only caught a little bit of the actual broadcast because that Bud for most of the game. Would agree. Super annoying. But anyway, good night for the Razorbacks. Proved to 17-11, 6-9. Nice in SEC play. And a big win to move up into the top of that bubble conversation. Give yourself a little bit of breathing room. And it's always good to sweep Texas. We're going to get out of here for John Neighbors, Andrew Ellis, and Curtis Wilkerson. Inside Arkansas, Pot the Palace. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.